The issue of opportunities for women in the startup technology industry continues to be extremely controversial. Sheryl Sandberg, of course, wrote a best-selling book about it, and it's an issue that continues to divide Silicon Valley. Last week in New York, L'Oreal, the cosmetics giant, held a celebratory award, the Next Generation Award for young women entrepreneurs. Here's an introduction to the 3 finalists in this competition.
I'm Sukhinder Singh Cassidy. I'm the founder and CEO of Joyus, which is the web's first really video shopping destination for modern women.
I'm Heather Marie. I'm the founder and CEO of 72Lux. And 72Lux is a software as a service company that allows and really transforms digital publishers into retailers.
I'm Kelsey Falter, the CEO and founder of Poptip. Poptip is a platform for businesses who want to incorporate crowd participation data into their business intelligence or their programming.
So the first question I asked each of these young female entrepreneurs is, why is it that there still are so few women startup entrepreneurs in the technology business?
When women are, are younger and in school, there is a stereotype that women are not good at science and math, which means, essentially that they're not good at technology. And that, tends to encourage women, and young girls to go into other fields and to not seek technology. So I think that that's kind of, part of the reason is it starts at a very young age.
When I was a first-time founder at Yodlee in 1999, I had a hard time finding any women female founders around me. Maybe Miriam Nafisi over starting Eve.com, but really there were very few. Now I think everywhere you look, actually, there are young female founders, who are starting companies right out of undergrad, right out of MBA programs. So I think that, yes, there are very few founders, but there are very few founders generally, guys. I actually think the proportion of female founders is increasing pretty dramatically.
The current lack of female CEOs in tech startups is not something that is going to be around for long. It's, in my mind, more of a lagging indicator because of kind of where things were at during the original .com boom as well as a few prior years ago. There hasn't really been a large number of role model females until today. I think that you look at the type of publicity and the type of popularity that women like Marissa Mayer and Sheryl Sandberg have gotten, and it's kind of like a celebrity aspect to them that is mystifying, mostly because there are so few older or more experienced female CEOs or females in leadership in tech.
Given the problems that women still have in getting into the tech industry, I asked, what needs to change to make it fairer, more egalitarian for women entrepreneurs?
I don't think there is a gender bias per se in VC funding, right? I think that VCs want to fund any entrepreneur who's going to give them a high ROI. But I think what they're looking for is kind of that intensity gene, right? The gene that says, I'm going to sleep under my desk if that's what it takes. I'm never going to say die. I think the stereotype is much more around being unencumbered than it is around being a woman. So I think to get, more female entrepreneurs into the game, of course, first, role models, clearly. But number 2, actually support, right? I would argue that when you're a female and you're 25 or 29, you're as unencumbered as a guy, and it's really about you having the gumption to get up and do it. I think when you're an older female, it's not as easy if you're a woman who's 35 trying to start a business. And really there, it's about negotiating for the support you need, whether it's from a spouse, whether it's help at home. If you have kids, it's a whole other level of support. So I think it's about the flexibility and the support systems that women need to negotiate in order for them to be entrepreneurs as they get older, actually.
Part of it starts with education and, early on encouraging young women and letting them know that they can, just as, they are just as smart as a man, and they can get into fields that are in technology, that are in science and math. And as they start to get older, and women are starting more and more companies now, it's definitely starting to increase. And I think there are a lot of organizations that are really focusing on recognizing women that are kind of paving the path for more people to get into it. And that type of recognition, I think, is definitely something that helps other women have something to look up to.
Individual females need to teach the world how they want to be treated. And that means stepping stepping up to the plate. That means being aggressive when it comes to investment. That means really, taking that same leap of risk that other entrepreneurs take. So putting themselves in that same playing field and teaching others how to view them is probably the most important thing that needs to happen.
What advice would you give your daughter if she wanted to follow you and get into the startup technology business?
So let's put it this way. I'm not giving her advice. I think I would like to do for her what my father did for me. So my parents were both entrepreneurs. They were doctors who ran their own medical practice. And my father loved business. My first job was in his office. I worked for my father, from 11 to 18 and some of my summers at college. And I understood what his tax returns looked like by the time I was 13 years old. I was doing them. So what I do for my daughter, she comes into Joyus. And every day I want her to see the behavior of a family that's entrepreneurial. There's something truly, entrepreneurs are bred from parents who are entrepreneurs.
I think the biggest thing is just really knowing that you can accomplish anything that you want, and there's nothing bad that can come of really trying. And I think that really having a support system, if you can, having a support system behind you, encouraging you to do anything that interests you is really important. And if you can't have that, having a strong role model or someone that you can look up to is definitely really important as well.
My mom gave me a domain name when I was 8 years old for my 8th birthday. And I think about that, and that was such a unique gift. I didn't even know what a domain name was. I attempted to go to the website and there was nothing there. And the trick was I had to build what was going to be there. And so just as parents give their children things like Legos or building blocks or different toys, I think that as children grow older and they enter into those pre-teen years, it's really important that parents continue to encourage them to explore tech, give them a little bit set. Allow them to tinker around with some of those, how-to Arduino kits that are in existence today, and see what happens. I think that that's the biggest thing there, is that if you give them the opportunity to explore, there's a higher chance, in my mind, that they will continue exploring if they feel compelled to.
I think L'Oreal should be commended for these awards, and I hope next year we'll have an opportunity to talk to more female entrepreneurs who are reinventing the technology business.